Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something kind of amazing, almost like, well, alchemy, really.
It really does feel like that sometimes.
Yeah, imagine taking just, a simple stack of everyday razor blades. Ordinary things.
Things you probably have in your bathroom cabinet right now.
Exactly. And through this incredibly precise process, a master craftsman turns them into an object. Well, an object worth tens of thousands.
It's an astonishing transformation.
So our mission today is to dive deep into exactly how that happens. We want to unpack the step-by-step, the techniques, and crucially, the why behind it all. How do you get from basic steel to actual art?
And we're basing this on a really detailed look at a master doing this work, so we get to see the secrets, so to speak.
Right. It's fascinating stuff.
What gets me is not just the final price tag, obviously, but the sheer blend of material science, incredible skill, and just patience. It really shows what human ingenuity can do.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The razor blades. They're just stacked up, right? One on top of the other. Pretty simple.
Yep, a neat little block.
And the very first step, the master welds them shut inside an iron box, seals it up tight. But there's this one little detail, easy to miss. A tiny vent hole drilled in the top of the box.
Yeah, and that's not just random. Those first steps, sealing it and adding the vent, they're absolutely critical.
Why is that? It's about pressure.
Exactly. You're going to heat this thing intensely. Metal expands, gases form. Without that vent, you'd basically build a small bomb.
Oh, okay.
So the vent manages the pressure. It allows the blades inside to melt down properly, uniformly, into a liquid without any dangerous buildup. It's all about control.
Right, controlling the environment, like creating a mini foundry.
Pretty much, yeah. A very specific little crucible.
So after that prep, the sealed container full of blades goes into a furnace, a really hot one.
Roaring hot. We're talking glowing red.
Until everything inside all those individual blades just melts, becomes one pool of liquid steel.
That's the goal of the stage. Complete fusion.
Okay, so you've got this box glowing red, full of molten metal. What happens next? They pull it out.
Pull it out, and then immediately, while it's still incredibly hot but starting to cool, it goes into a compression machine.
A machine, like a press.
Yeah, a heavy-duty press. It squeezes the box hard as the metal inside cools and solidifies, really reduces the internal volume.
Huh. And then they open it.
And then once it's cool, they take an angle grinder, carefully cut the box open, and pull out what the source calls the essence part.
The essence part, what exactly is that?
Well, it's essentially the now solid block of steel that used to be the liquid razor blades. The compression is key here.
Why compress it during cooling?
Because when metal cools and solidifies, tiny gaps, like little air pockets or voids, can form naturally. The pressure literally squeezes those out. It forces the metal grains together.
So it makes it denser, more solid?
Exactly. Much denser, much more uniform, no hidden weaknesses inside. It's a way to consolidate the material properly. You see similar principles in high-end forging for aerospace parts.
That makes total sense. From separate blades to a single, dense block.
Okay.
And I saw they weld a handle onto this block.
Yeah, just a simple, sturdy handle that's purely practical. It's just so the craftsman can actually hold onto and manipulate this block of steel during the next very hot stages. It's nowhere near finished yet.
Gotcha. It's a tool for the process, not part of the final product.
Right.
So we have our solid block. Where's the transformation go from here? Back to the heat.
Back into the furnace, yep. Reheat the block until it's glowing red hot again, ready to be worked.
But then there's this interesting step. The master sprinkles some kind of white powder onto the hot steel. Looks almost ceremonial.
It does look a bit like magic, doesn't it? But it's pure chemistry. That white powder is a flux.
Flux, what does that do?
When you heat steel like that, impurities, especially oxides, form on the surface. The flux reacts with those impurities. It basically draws them out, pulls them away from the steel itself.
So it cleans the metal?
Essentially, yeah. It helps liquefy the impurities into a slag, which can then be physically removed, usually by hammering, or sometimes they just vaporize. It purifies the steel at high temperature. So, here's a question for you listening. What do you think that white powder might be? What common substance acts like that on hot metal?
Interesting question. Okay, so powder applied, impurities dealt with. Now the hammering begins. The forging.
Now the real forging starts, and it's this rhythm, heat, hammer, heat, hammer.
And they use both hand hammering and a machine.
They do. Often starts with hand forging, careful, controlled blows to start shaping it, getting the basic form right. The craftsman can really feel the metal that way.
But the machine, that's for speed and power.
Exactly. A power hammer does the heavy lifting. It efficiently draws the block out, flattening it into like a thick sheet. It's this blend of raw power from the machine and fine control from the handwork.
It's quite a dance, isn't it? Force and finesse.
Absolutely. The machine gets the rough shape fast, but the hand forging refines it, prevents stresses building up inside the steel. It's all about controlling how the metal moves.
Okay, so we've gone from a block to a thick, flat sheet. Still pretty rough, I imagine.
Oh yeah, still rough.
Oh.
So the next step is bringing back the precision. The master uses an angle grinder again.
This time for cutting.
Yep, cutting along carefully marked lines, trimming off all the excess material, really starting to define the actual shape of the blade. You can finally start to see it emerge.
Making progress.
Definitely. And right after that cutting, there's another grinding step, but this one's different.
How so?
This time it's about carefully grinding off the black layer, the oxidation scale that formed during all that heating and hammering.
So getting down to the clean metal underneath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just cosmetic, though it does start to look shinier. It's crucial for preparing the surface for what comes next. You need that clean metal for even heat treatment, and later for the etching to work properly. It's like unveiling the true material.
Okay, clean surface revealed. Now comes what many say is the most critical part, right? Quenching.
Quenching, yes. Absolutely vital. The source calls it the most important step, and for good reason.
Why is it so important? What does it actually do?
It's all about fundamentally changing the steel's internal structure. You heat the blade back up to a specific critical temperature, then cool it incredibly rapidly, usually by plunging it into oil or water.
That rapid cooling is the key.
It is. It forces the steel's atoms, which are kind of loosely arranged when hot, to lock into a very hard, very strong, but also brittle, crystalline structure, often martensite.
So it makes it hard.
Incredibly hard and strong. This is what gives the blade its ability to take and hold a really sharp edge. It dramatically improves the texture, the performance, everything. Without quenching, it would just be relatively soft steel. Not much use as a high-performance blade.
Wow. Just a quick temperature change makes that much difference. It's like locking in the potential.
That's a good way to put it. Locking in the hardness.
Okay, so the blade is now super hard. What's left for the blade itself? There's one more big step, isn't there? The acid bath.
Yes, the final immersive step for the blade. The whole thing goes into a diluted acidic solution. And not just for a dip, it soaks for a long time. Like 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours in acid. What does that achieve?
After that long soak, it's rinsed thoroughly with clean water. And the result is, well, it's beautiful. This intricate, often wavy or layered pattern emerges on the surface of the steel.
A pattern from the acid.
Exactly. The acid etches the different layers or components of the steel at slightly different rates, revealing the structure created during the forging process, especially if it was pattern welded steel to begin with, which is likely here given the starting material. This pattern is unique, and it's a huge part of the blade's aesthetic appeal and, frankly, its value.
So the acid reveals the history of the forging, in a way.
Precisely. It turns it from just a tool into something visually stunning, a piece of art that tells a story of its creation.
Amazing. And then the very last touch.
The final step is fitting it with a handle. And typically, for something like this, it's not just any handle. It's usually something delicate, exquisitely crafted, maybe from beautiful wood or other materials, to complement the blade itself.
Completing the whole aesthetic.
Bringing it all together.
So let's just recap that journey. It's kind of mind-blowing. You start with simple razor blades.
Seemingly worthless, almost.
Yeah. And through heating, melting, compressing, forging, both by hand and machine, then careful shaping, grinding, that crucial quench.
Don't forget the flux powder.
Right, the white powder, then the long acid etch to reveal the pattern. You end up with this incredibly valuable, beautiful blade.
It really is an amazing showcase of metallurgy, sheer craftsmanship, and artistic vision, all rolled into one. Every single step, from choosing to use those blades to the powder, the quench, the acid, it all matters. Each step builds on the last to create both function and beauty.
It really highlights how the process itself creates the value, doesn't it? It's not just the starting stuff.
Absolutely. It's the knowledge, the skill, the intention applied to the material. Understanding the science allows the craftsman to pull out these incredible
I was
properties.
thinking about that.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other ordinary things are around us? Things we barely notice. If you applied the right process, the right knowledge, the right intention, what hidden potential, what extraordinary value might be waiting inside them, just waiting to be unlocked? Makes you think.